The chosen ones ignite your soul. The most dangerous people are not those seeking power, but those who have been sculpted by struggle and driven to embrace it. Let us be clear. You are not normal. While others comply, you disturb. While they settle, you soar. And while they spend time hating, you become their greatest nightmare. History forgets those who lived pleasantly. It commemorates those who have made others uncomfortable. You are one of those who have been shaped by adversity. You did not only survive, you became unstoppable. Now everyone will realize what you've always known. Your moment has arrived. Keep moving ahead. Your legacy is already in the works. Individuals who defied the odds so ferociously that even their opponents shouted their names in admiration. And you are that person. Simply being present rattles the weak, exposes frauds, and causes cowards to scatter like cockroaches. When the lights turn on, that is why they flee. For this reason, they talk. Because of this, they want to stop you, but don't succeed. But let's face it, you were previously aware of this, correct? Now let us look at why no one has ever presented such a threat as you. First of all, you did not choose this. It chose you. This was not anything you desired. You never raised your hand and said, "Choose me." Life threw you into the fire, dragged you through the muck, and forced you to become something most people would not be able to bear. You had no choice. You were destined for battle before you ever knew what it was. This is what differentiates you. Others have aspirations of grandeur. They crave it. They chase it. However, they fail to understand the cost. In contrast, you were chosen not for your comfort or glamour, but because you were the only one capable of handling it. That is what separates you from them. They seek power. You were fashioned into it. The weight of your experiences would have led most people to break down. But you held together. Each failure, betrayal, and moment that should have ended just sharpened your intuition. It transformed you into someone more menacing, concentrated, and untouchable. What led others to surrender were the same characteristics that differentiated you. This is why you inspire terror in others, not because of the loudness of your voice or because you impose yourself, but because they understand on a basic level that they could never deal with what you have already gone through. They are intimidated by that level of tenacity and mental power. You didn't choose this route, but now you're on it. You can't go back. You've seen too much, gone through too much, and accumulated too much power to ever shrink again. Whether people love or detest you, they will always pay attention to you. Your sheer existence demonstrates that the fire does not devour everyone. Some people embody the fire itself, which is what makes them dangerous. You had no choice. You became the only choice. Second, you caused discomfort in others by reflecting their flaws. People don't truly detest you. It's how people feel because of you. When you enter a room, their confidence starts to wane. Not because of your deeds, but because just being around you reminds them of everything they are not. You expose people with little effort on your side. Your discipline is obvious to them, and it makes them feel bad for being lazy as they watch you progress. They start to question why they've been stationary for years. They perceive your power and grasp the depth of their own weakness, which they have let to grow instead of utilizing it as incentive to improve themselves. They choose an easier way: resentment. They will convince themselves that you are conceited, lucky, or unworthy. They will argue that you have changed and that you see yourself as superior to others. The reality is, they just cannot accept how you reflect their own flaws. When they see you, it reminds them of the effort they never made, the possibilities they wasted, the potential they failed to realize, and the slips they are wearing. You don't even try to help them feel that way. You are merely existing, moving, and evolving. However, to them, your presence is a constant unspoken criticism, a silent reminder that they had the potential to accomplish more in their life but decided not to. That is why they flee. For this reason, they talk. As a result, they are secretly hoping that you will fail. For if you fall, it means they were right in keeping tiny. However, if you continue to win, advance, and show that they are erroneous, they will have to face the painful fact that they were the only barriers in their way. So don't waste time worrying about people who can't deal with your existence. They were never meant to be your equal. Continue to advance. Continue to grow while allowing them to get overwhelmed by their own justifications. Third, your strength stems from the injuries that should have wrecked you. You never had the choice of being in agony. It was a fact you had to face. The events that should have crushed you, made you angry, and depleted your strength accomplished exactly the opposite. Rather of destroying you, they created you. Instead of making you weak, they made you untouchable. Each injury served as a teaching opportunity. Each failure provided drive. Each act of betrayal proved that you didn't need anybody to save you. When things become tough, the majority of people break down. They give in when forced. Ask for shortcuts and look for a scapegoat. Whatever adjustments you made, each terrible experience became acute and unshakable. You didn't just survive. You evolved. And now you are not frightened of anything. That's what makes you distinct. While most individuals avoid suffering, you've learned to harness it while others waste time complaining. You turned your obstacles into tactics while others were making excuses. You were progressing. And, while they expected things to get easier, you evolved into someone who no longer needed easy. People don't understand your current level of strength. They believe you have always got everything together. However, they were not there throughout your lone bouts. They were unaware of the nights when you had to rebuild yourself from scratch. They were not present when you had every reason to resign but choose not to. Because of this, people will never understand why you behave the way you do. You don't dread losing since you've previously endured worse. You have no fear of conflict or of foes. Others were unable to witness the most important fights you waged. They feel the scars will inhibit your development. They are exactly why you cannot be stopped. You not only survived the fire, but you became it. Nothing is more blazing than you. Number 4. Your naysayers are not the only ones on the move. They are keeping an eye on things from a distance. They'd laugh. They would speak about you in low tones, as if you were a punchline. Now they are obsessed with whatever you do. The same people who had previously questioned you dismissed you and felt you would never achieve. They can't keep their eyes off of you anymore, but they won't admit it. They're keeping a watch on you, monitoring your steady ascension and the fact that no matter what happens, you never plummet as they had planned. They constantly updating your social media, asking common friends about you, and scrutinizing your accomplishments as if they were a fraud. They'd roll their eyes if you discussed your dreams. Now they are secretly taking notes, and for the most part, they are unconscious of their increasing fixation. They'll convince themselves that their main goal is curiosity and that they're just popping by for a chuckle. However, if that's the case, why can't they stop their search? They are now concerned by your presence. Your development proves that their perception of you was erroneous, that all of their skepticism, mockery, and disdain were futile, and it aches. They told themselves that you'd fail. They kept convincing themselves you weren't very exceptional. However, they are now forced to doubt themselves every time you achieve. If you were able to do it, what excuse do they have? However, don't expect them to give you their congrats. They'll keep them to themselves. They respect you. Now, they admire your hustle, self-discipline, and ability to prove them all wrong without even communicating with them. And that's what drives them crazy. They want to watch your fall, but all they see now is your back as you go forward. Allow them to observe, then keep them concealed and quiet. Their approval is unnecessary. Continue to give them a first-hand account of the accomplishment they said you'd never achieve. Ultimately, you are the reason they stay up at night. Number 5. You perform with a level of discipline that exceeds their expectations. Most people dream. The vast majority of individuals converse. You carry out. This is what differentiates you. You're focused while others waste hours on distractions, endless scrolling, complaining about life, or making excuses. Discipline should not be something you just use when you feel like it. It's not something you do for a week and then quit. It describes a way of living. This scares them because they know they could never commit to it. They're inquisitive about the basis for your continual leadership. They're interested as to why it looks that opportunities come readily to you. It is not chance. It is an effort. You devote the time that others refuse to. You stay constant while others remain comfortable and seek quick pleasure. You make sacrifices. When people see your successes, it's simpler for them to call you fortunate than to admit their own sloth. They don't understand why you reject diversions. They call you boring because you don't waste time like they do. They claim you work too hard because they are intimidated by the prospect of such intense concentration. They secretly desire for your degree of discipline. However, instead of building their own, they mock yours. The reality: they fear your dependability. They continue to wait for you to slow your speed, to drop out, give up, but you will not. This isn't simply a phase for you. It is your identity, and the longer you go, the more uncomfortable it makes them. For this reason, people avoid you. As a result, people talk about you while you're not present. Your discipline forces them to confront their own sloth, and instead of stepping up, they would rather stay in their comfort zone and pretend you are the problem. However, this does not bother you. Allow them to misconstrue you. Allow them to say you're too serious. When the outcomes speak for themselves, there is no need to say anything. 6. You create things that seem impossible. Look simple. You were informed that it was impossible to do. You were informed that individuals like you aren't successful. And then you did it. They felt nauseous as a result of your smooth performance. That is the real reason they damage your credibility. They acknowledge your achievements. The problem is that you make it seem too simple. They expected you to struggle, to go as slowly as possible, and to find it difficult to get through. Instead, you move as if you were designed for this. They are unaware of the work that is done behind the scenes. They don't see the late hours, sacrifices, or discipline needed to get to this position. They only see the final outcome. And since they don't understand how much labor it took, they assume it came easy to you. As a result, they attempt to diminish the significance of your accomplishment. They make statements like anybody could do it, or they just got fortunate. They can't believe that someone like you, whom they previously despised, can reach such heights. But the real reason they're upset, because if you could do it, they could too. And it is a reality they are not ready to face. Believing you have an unfair edge is simpler than admitting they never tried. Allow them to doubt. Let them manufacture excuses. Your accomplishments drown out their anxieties. 7th point. You're not pleading for a seat at the table anymore. You lit the whole table fire when you sought their approval, waited for an invitation from them, and hoped they would acknowledge your worth. However, time is gone. These days, you do not request a seat. You make your own table. You gained insight into something that most people do not grasp. The gatekeepers have no true authority. They sought to exclude you. They made you feel inadequate. They were never in control. When you stopped seeking validation, you became unstoppable. They disregarded you. They have no choice but to recognize you now. You developed your own rules instead of following theirs, while they were obsessed with selecting who should join. You were out there building something so impressive that folks had to pay attention. That is what scares them. You're no longer under their influence. You should not feel obligated to them, or as if they may dangle chances in front of you. They understand that you have outgrown them. This is the source of their present confusing conduct, the reason for their newfound desire to support you. Why do they act as if they have always backed you? But you remember. You recollect the doors they sought to close, and they are no longer essential for you. You built something greater than their tiny table, and now they're knocking on your door. Number 8. You notice things that others miss. What separates you from them? You get a full view of the chessboard, while they are concentrating on just one item. The vast majority of people react to stimuli rather than responding proactively. They wait for life to develop before hastily adapting. In comparison, you're 10 steps ahead. You've already predicted what will happen tomorrow as they dispute now. As a result, they closely evaluate your behavior. They are unable to comprehend a vision outside their restricted viewpoint, which is why they cannot understand your plan. Instead of spending time attempting to convince people, let the outcomes speak for themselves. They mock your risks, insult your unconventional approach, and dismiss your options. However, after everything settles down and happens just as planned, They act as if they have always trusted you. This is why you avoid seeking affirmation. You're already aware of what's coming. You see patterns arising before others do. You recognize possibilities far before they become apparent. You understand human nature so well that you are not shocked by people's next movements. You have already considered these in. When everything comes together, people call you fortunate. They don't realize that it's not chance, but forethought. You anticipated the shift and acted ahead of their debates. You put yourself in a position that they now wish they held. However, by the time they receive it, you've already progressed again. As a result, they stay confused. As a result, they struggle to keep up the pace. They are always chasing what you have already mastered, and their recognition of your accuracy occurs after the fact. Allow them to have doubts, then let them misinterpret. Your vision is not intended for everyone. It is intended for individuals who are bold enough to see beyond the present. And when the future arrives, they will finally understand what you saw from the beginning. 9. You've mastered the use of quiet as a weapon. They expect a response. You're supposed to be loud, outspoken, and easily rattled. However, you prefer to remain quiet. And that's what makes you dangerous. Silence is not indicative of weakness. It's part of a strategy. The bulk of individuals talk excessively. They reveal their sentiments, ideas, and anxieties without realizing that they are offering ammo. But you've learned to travel without sound. You understand that the person making the most noise in the room is often the most vulnerable. They quarrel and seek attention, yelling all the while revealing their next plan. In the meanwhile, you take notes. You let them assume they were succeeding. You let them expose their cards. You let them underestimate you. And when the time is right, you hit. They fail to foresee this since they are preoccupied with causing a commotion. You are gathering information, strategizing your next move, and positioning yourself to win. When they finally figure out what's going on, it's too late. Your silence makes them nervous. It raises questions. They want to know what you're thinking, what you're planning, and why you responded unexpectedly and with doubt. It eats them. Individuals are terrified of what they cannot anticipate. They are terrified of someone who does not get agitated, ignores their provocations, and remains calm when assaulted. And that is why you always win. You never play the game on their level. Allow them to speak. Let them cry for attention. A response is not needed from you. It is enough that you remain quiet. And when the moment is perfect, you will move in unexpected ways. Number 10. They want to emulate you. However, the pattern is intrinsic in you. They would mock you. They now emulate you. Regardless of their efforts, a subpar version will always exist. It isn't simply your style. They replicate. They also copy your energy, thoughts, and life philosophy. Your words, deeds, and very being are removed from you. Yet they still fail to satisfy the standard since what you have is not an acquired characteristic. You were born with it. This is what makes people frustrated. They study you, dissect you, and try to break down your cognitive processes. They cannot, however, recreate the essence of your identity since the blueprint is stored in your blood, not inside the stairs. They lack your passion. Your instincts are not there in them. They lack the experiences, pain, and problems that helped form you into the person you are now. They see the success but fail to see the wounds that lurk behind it. They feel that recreating the end result will give them the same power. However, they do not understand that it was the voyage that altered you, which is why they will constantly fall behind. They are following what you have previously outgrown, attempting to replicate your prior actions. You've already moved on to the next one when they think they've caught up with you. You've endured another transformation. Let them reproduce. Allow them to emulate. It is of no significance. The copycat will never be able to compare to the original, and they will never be able to accept what was never meant for them. 11. You are willing to take on duties that others reject. The majority of individuals want to be successful, but only a few are willing to go through suffering to get it. This is the moment at which you differentiate yourself. You carry out the steps they refuse to do. You put up with the long nights, sacrifices, and suffering while others choose the easier path. You pursue the route that breaks most others, and as a result, they are unable to reach your level. Success is not given to you. It is attained by discipline, hardship, and steadfast determination. However, the majority of individuals quit up when things get tough. They moan when things don't go as planned. You proceed. It has cost you blood. You've lost for this. You've gone through moments of uncertainty, solitude, and misery for this. You never turned your back. Your invulnerability originates from the fact that you have overcome trials that others will never confront. They are jealous of your accomplishments, but they are unwilling to make the sacrifices you have. They appreciate your power but have no desire to bear your difficulties. They like achievement but hate pain. And this is what truly makes a difference. They lack the resolve to go through the flames. You go through it freely. They crumble under strain. You thrive at it. Because of this, they are unable to compete. As a result, they will never understand exactly what is required. Greatness is not the result of desire. It stems from persistence. And you were meant for this. Number 12. You've been going alone for so long that dread has left you. Most people struggle to cope with alone. They demand distractions, loudness, and validation. But you made loneliness into your training ground. You didn't just spend time alone. You mastered it. Others wanted friendship to escape their own thoughts. You choose to sit with yours. You faced your inner demons and waged quiet battles that would be unknown to anyone. And in that loneliness, you created something unshakable. Fear no longer recognizes you for this reason. It cannot govern someone who has already been through the worst and survived. While most people succumb to isolation, you emerged indestructible. The seclusion that would have killed them only sharpened you. The quiet that would have driven them insane provided you insight. You gained independence. Think for yourself and believe on your own instincts. And now you don't need anybody. Individuals fail to understand that degree of power. They mistook your independence for arrogance. They regard you as cold, distant, and uninterested. The reality is, you no longer dread losing. After walking alone for a long period, you know that you will always rebuild, rise, and return stronger. That is what makes them terrified. You aren't searching for approval. You do not rely on a mob. There is no need to seek authorization to relocate. There is nothing to be terrified of now that the worst has passed. Number 13. Your name is already reverberating in areas you have yet to see. Others are talking about you right now, while you are focused on your hustle. People are talking about you in locations you have never been. Individuals who have never met you are learning about you, evaluating you, and discussing your effect, regardless of their sentiments toward you, love, or hatred. They cannot ignore you. That is the power of genuine influence. It spreads even while you aren't looking, while others are obsessed with gaining attention. You have become a subject of debate. Your actions, attitude, and presence are having a significant influence that goes well beyond your awareness. Some are motivated, while others feel intimidated. However, they are all familiar with your name. This is why opportunities come your way, even before you begin looking. Your energy has the ability to transform vast landscapes with little effort on your side. And that is why what you have built is more than just success. It's a reputation, and reputations travel quicker than individuals do. The most exciting aspect, your peak performance is still ahead of you. If your name is already making waves, consider the legacy. You are on the approach of generating number 14. You do not just win. You change the game. The bulk of people compete for a seat at the table. You flip the whole table upside down to build your own kingdom. Your intention here was never to fit in. Following the script was never your goal. While others follow the rules, you change them. People either adore or fear you because you do more than just achieve. You alter the whole surroundings. You don't just smash records. You establish new ones. You don't just follow trends. You leave legacies as you travel. The world adjusts. Individuals react. Markets change. And brains widen. You force change regardless of whether they are prepared for it. What about those who had their reservations about you? They had no chance from the beginning. While you became a chess master, Others played checkers while focusing on rivalry. Your emphasis was on dominance. And now they watch from the sidelines while you shape the future. That is what distinguishes victors from legends. Those that win will get the reward. Legends change the game for the better. How about you? You weren't supposed to play little here. Conclusion: you've changed into an unstoppable force. They questioned your ability, mocked you, and some even wished you failure. But here you are, stronger, sharper, and less touchable than ever. Not because it's easy, but because you won't give up. You not only rose above, but also conquered the noise. You not only endured the loneliness, but you also became invulnerable to it. They tried to examine, reproduce, and repress you. However, each action they performed showed just one thing: you're unique. Your essence is derived from something beyond their grasp. They were playing checkers while you were playing chess in order to get attention. You left lasting legacies. They relied on shortcuts, but you embraced the adversity that formed your success. This is why they are unable to keep up the pace. Because of this, they cannot replace you. While a result, they will always watch from the sidelines while you take charge. Your name is already in places your feet have never gone before. They even understand what's going on. Your actions are already affecting the game. Instead than following trends, you create them. Instead of battling for a seat at the table, you build a whole empire. And the best part, you have only just begun. Your journey to this far demonstrates that you are not just another anonymous person. You belong to a special species that refuses to tolerate mediocrity, does not adhere to others' restrictions, and does not waste time seeking acceptance. You're an unstoppable force, a selected one destined for greatness. If you are ready to take this trip to the next level, keep pushing the envelope and breaking down barriers. There is just one last duty. Smash the subscribe button to join the revolution. If you found this compelling, trust me, you haven't seen anything genuinely exceptional. Every video, lesson, and insight is designed to rekindle your enthusiasm, clarify your vision, and become unstoppable. This is when actual transformation begins. What are you waiting for then? Don't just observe from the sidelines. Become the power that others see. Sign up today, and together we can change the game. You aren't only participating in this voyage. You're in the forefront of it. Let's move.